Hi, this is my review of The Host movie. Obviously, this video will contain spoilers for both the movie and the book. If you don't want any spoilers, you can click here and go to my spoiler-free review of the book. I went to see the movie a couple of days ago with Marion, who had only read the book up until the point where Melanie meets the rebels. So besides seeing the movie for the first time myself, I really enjoyed seeing her first reaction to a lot of the things in the movie. I took a lot of notes while I was watching the movie, so let's see if I can decipher the things I jotted down in the dark. Let's start at the beginning. I wasn't really a fan of the pictures they showed in the beginning. Those were also the pictures from the very first teaser trailer. I didn't really like the style of them. I also didn't like the opening scene where Melanie gets caught. The acting in it seems a bit weak. However, I did love the suicide scene. The fall was done really well, and also the insertion scene was excellent and exactly how I imagined it. The voiceover of Melanie took a really long time to get used to, and the delivery and the editing of some of the sentences was really awkward. There was just way too much reverb on it, and the same goes for the memory scenes. Those were way too blurry. I think with a little less blur, the audience would still have understood that these were memories. I think they did a really good job of showing the true nature of the souls, because of course Wanda is in contact with the Seeker a lot, and the Seeker does not behave in the way that the other souls do. So with this movie, you're at risk of not having the audience understand what the souls are like, because both Wanda and the Seeker are quite different. So I think adding the scene where she just asks if she can have a stranger's car was a really good addition. I'm also really glad they left the scene in where she goes to see the healer. It's towards the end of the movie and it really reminds you of what the souls are like, and that the individual souls aren't really the enemy. And it also shows you how much Wanda has changed in the time she spent with the rebels. I loved how they showed the internal struggle that the Seeker had. It became a lot more clear than in the book, where we only kind of find out what's going on towards the end. But I definitely thought there was too much Seeker in this movie for my taste. Also, the souls, or the Seeker specifically, have the worst fashion sense ever. Let's not talk about that white suit with the thong shape in the back. However, I really liked the outfits that Wanda was wearing while she was with the rebels. Some people have said that there was way too much making out in this movie, and I would like to disagree. Also, these were some really excellent makeout scenes. There were some beautiful scenery shots, but the colors were a lot less vibrant than they were in my head. However, the scene where Ian and Wanda are outside on their date, there's this gorgeous sunlight that's hitting their hair and faces. I thought that Wanda in the book was a lot more terrified, and at the same time also a lot braver and experienced. And I also really wish that there was a bit more acknowledgement of how many planets she has been to and how special that is among souls. Her character in the book is quite mature even though she's new to this young body, and I felt like some of that was perhaps missing. However, I did love when sassy Wanda was there flirting with Ian even though Melanie didn't like it at all. I enjoyed the Sky of Worms scene. It looked really beautiful, and even though it wasn't in the book, I thought it was a great addition. In general, all the kind of new scenes that were added to this movie were really good. The same goes for the scene where the two rebels commit suicide. That scene had a lot of impact and really showed the desperation, and the acting in it was really good. Every time the store appeared, we couldn't help but laugh. I don't know why, it was just hilarious. Also, the music that was playing in the store. The soundtrack of the movie was so mixed. There are these beautiful songs, and then some of the scenes had something in the background that sounded like horrible copyright-free music. I think Max, who played Jared, tried really hard to get his accent right, and it was good a lot of the times, and then sometimes he would slip up. I think there's a scene where he starts out by saying Wanda, so that caught me off guard sometimes, but it was nowhere near as bad as Emma Watson in The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Jeb was amazing, 100% like it was in the book, and his interaction with Wanda was stellar. Some of my favorite quotes were in there. It's a strange world. Sometimes quotes work really well and sometimes they just become cringeworthy, but I think that this one worked for me. I can't quite remember if they had the quote, "The universe will be a darker place without you." I feel like they did, or at least something similar. Can we talk about how when the soul was being put in the pod, it literally knocked on the pod to make it open up? That cracked us up so much. Also, the images when she is sending the pod off into the universe was beautifully done. When Wanda was on the surgery table and she was about to die, I was really worried that they weren't going to express properly the reason why she wanted to die. To the fact that she feels like she has found her home on Earth and she doesn't want to live on any other planet is one of the most beautiful things in the book. But fortunately, then they switched to that shot that's right above the surgery table, and I might have cried a little bit. And then of course we have Emily Browning as Pet. I had to really get used to it in the first scene. She looked kind of weird. Part of it might have been the weird frumpy fuzzy sweater she was wearing, but then the next scene when she's sitting on the steps with Ian, it looked really good and I quite liked her. Then we end with the beautiful credits in space with the song by Imagine Dragons playing in the background, which I absolutely loved in the trailer. So in conclusion, I quite like this movie. Some things were a bit rushed, like Ian falling in love with Wanda, but you know, it's a 600-page book. Some scenes were a bit awkward, but they could have done a lot worse. Just thinking about the new people who might be introduced to this story because of the movie is really great. And I was just really happy to see one of my favorite stories come to life on the big screen. In the comments you can let me know what you thought of the movie, and I will talk to you guys later. Doei!